My name is Rosalind Falcon Collier. I'm one of the co-founders of the San Antonio Peace Center 24 years ago this year. This is my granddaughter, Shelby Hosler. She's a student at UTSA, and she's majoring in women's studies. I don't think they had that major when I was in college. First things first, there are no bathrooms, and the intermission is down. Wait a minute. There is no intermission, and the bathrooms are down the hall to the right, down the door. I'm glad y'all were paying attention. Thank you. Okay, the symbolic season of nonviolence. We're beginning the season of nonviolence today, but technically it doesn't begin until Thursday. It begins and ends on the assassination dates of two well-known prophets of nonviolence. Gandhi was assassinated January 31st, Dr. Martin Luther King, April the 4th. 64 days of committing ourselves to a practice of nonviolence in our lives, in our families, and in our communities. The blessing of the Peacemakers is always the last Sunday in January, commemorating our renewed commitment to nurture peace in our hearts and in our world. I would like to recognize the previous laureates. Would any Peace Laureates who were here, who were named before, would they please stand up to be recognized? Sister Martha Ann Kirk and the Sisters of the Incarnate Word. Rod and Patti Radle from Inner City Development down there. Are there any other? Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Dr. Ruth Lofgren, the very first Peace Laureate that was named, passed away on October the 31st of last year, just days before her 102nd birthday. We dedicate this gathering to her life of environmental research, compassionate service, and insight, and to all the compassionate peacemakers, famous and unknown, who have gone before us, and in whose footsteps we follow. Please stand for a moment of silence. Please remain standing for just a moment. Gratefulness guru and Benedictine monk, Brother David Stendal Rost, talks about coming to a point in our lives where the only prayer we need to say is thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's begin with a prayer by thanking our brothers and sisters next to us and all around us for being here at this blessing and for bringing more peace and more compassion into our world. Shake hands with the person next to you. Thank you, Shelby, for saying yes. Thank you. Please be seated. Hoy comenzamos con las mujeres dan a luz al futuro. Today we begin with women giving birth to the future. Just imagine if these three women had decided to sit out their life's work. Where would we be as a city, as a people? Our celebration highlights the combined 140 plus years of courageously and compassionately bearing the light into marginalized communities, beginning in the past, leading up to the present, and poised to go wherever the need takes them. At this blessing, we honor these three women, as well as all the women who have birthed us and all who have become the women they were created to be. We honor all the men who have worked for social justice and who have become mentors to young people. Susan Ives, one of the co-founders of the Peace Center, will introduce our 2019 Peace Laureates.
Good afternoon. We're going to take them in chronological order. So Nickie, you're going to get to go first after I introduce you. And each Peace Laureate, the three of them, will be coming to the podium with another woman that they've mentored in their life. So our first Peace Laureate for 2019 is Nickie Valdez. Can we have a round of applause for her? Nickie is from San Antonio, and she left her career at Fox Tech High School to join the convent, and that didn't work. So she went back to high school, and then she went to hang out at the place where LGBT people could hang out in the early 1960s, which is when she came out, which was a bar. And bars weren't even safe places then, from what I understand, Nickie. She has several arrests on her record from doing horrible things in bars, like buying another woman a drink, maybe holding hands, looking into each other's eyes, or dancing. Nickie was one of the early organizers of the LGBT community in San Antonio, at a time when people didn't even know what those initials meant. She was active in the Free Clinic, which was a city initiative, and now the National Organization for Women, and in an organization called the Forward Foundation. She and others led the first LGBT conference in San Antonio in 1976 called A Sense of Belonging. And maybe that's the theme, Nickie, for why you're here today, is the sense of belonging that you've brought to people. In the mid-1970s, she and another group of people, probably about 10 to 15 people at an average meeting, both men and women, got together to discuss sexuality and spirituality. And think about it, at the time, it wasn't something that people really talked about, but they were insistent in a quiet, persistent way that they too were children of God and made in God's image. And they had a right to a place in the church. They found out about a national organization called Dignity and thought, we could do that too. It's an organization for LGBT people and their supporters within the Catholic Church. And they started the first chapter here in San Antonio. And it's been going ever since for more than 30 years. I think this is amazing, to persist in the face of one stumbling block after another, with people saying, no, you don't belong. No, you're not a child of God as you are. No, you have to be different to come to our church. And in a quiet way, to insist on justice, to insist on love, to insist on a sense of belonging. Gosh, Nickie, you're making me cry. So I'm going to ask you to come up here along with Deb, who's going to do a more personal introduction and explain how you've influenced her life, and then you get to talk.
Thank you, Susan. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm supposed to tell you a story, one story about Nickie that's inspired me. That's a very difficult task since we've been together 33 years next month. I will tell you about the threads of her story that have inspired me, and if you know her, I'm sure that it's part of what inspires you as well. It's her courage and her perseverance, characteristics that run deep from her childhood. She learned them hard and fast. As a young child, she was abandoned by her mother. When she professed religious life, she was turned away on a technicality. When she came out, her father rejected her. So, a story. Once upon a time, in a very, very different San Antonio, when LGBT people didn't have last names or changed their names for fear of retaliation for their work, from their work or their family or their friends, Nickie had the courage to come out publicly. She was one of the first to do so here in San Antonio. She had the courage to be who she was, to believe in her goodness, and come to realize that she was a child of the universe and that she somehow belonged. That's the theme. Since then, she has been steadfast and committed to creating the same thing for others. She's been an advocate for and to the community, and as she likes to say, our work is about afflicting the comfortable and comforting the afflicted. Throughout her work with dignity in the larger community, her perseverance and courage are strong threads in that story. A handful of examples. She sat on the steps of the Catholic Student Center at SAC with Father Alex Nagy Sunday after Sunday until people showed up. When the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith of the Catholic Church declared us intrinsically disordered and morally evil, many in our community gave up on the Catholic Church and also gave dignity and her a hard time for staying. She continued to believe that faith and spirituality are stronger than doctrine, than theology. When the larger LGBT community in San Antonio was in turmoil over major issues, her deepest and strongest desire was to bring people together. When being inclusive of women in liturgy was challenged, she led the way and held that strong that God is neither male nor female. God is greater than anything we can imagine. When Bishop Cantu kicked us out of our home at St. Anne's Catholic Church, she helped to make a home in a new place, claiming that our spirituality comes from within, not in a building. She's beat cancer once, and she's giving her 6-year struggle with multiple myeloma one heck of a run for its money. But I feel that her most important work is the people that she has helped along the way. She's created a space for us to reconcile our spirituality with our sexuality providing healing and wholeness and holiness to countless LGBT people. She inspired me over 33 years ago. She still inspires me today to do the same thing. Thank you, Nickie, for your courage and your perseverance. I love you.
Thank you. I'm getting shorter by the day. So. Buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon. First of all, let me give thanks to the Peace Center for this award. That phenomenal group of people that have created San Antonio a compassionate San Antonio. I'm very humbled and appreciative of this award. I have had the good fortune of having been recognized for my work throughout the years in the LGBTQ community. But this is the first time that I or anyone in the LGBT community has been recognized and received an award from a non-gay organization precisely for the work in the gay community. This is a first. Even though I worked with many organizations and projects within the larger community, my particular work and concern has been the spiritual well-being of the LGBTQ individual. The LGBTQ child is the only one that comes home for comfort and tells their parents and family that my friends are calling me names like queer, dyke, joto, and so on. And the parents' response is, well, how are you behaving? How are you walking, talking, or acting? Instead of, don't worry, we love you. You are who you are. This response leads us to believe we are damaged goods and that there is something wrong with us. From then on, we feel that way in society, in our church, at our workplace, and as citizens. It is a deep wound. So the peace I have sought all my life to create is the individual peace we as LGBTQI children of God have within ourselves. A deep desire to create that peace that no matter how people treat us, what they call us, or how an institution classifies us, does not get us down for long. To know who we are and to know our values and worth, and that nothing can shake us. It's who we are. Get used to it. In my work with dignity, the biggest challenge is that we as LGBTQ people believe the hierarchy when they make statements that are not true about who we are. Once again, making us feel hurt and forsaken. The work of dignity has been to step in like a family and say, don't worry, we love you, you're okay. God loves you as you are. That has been my focus for the 40+ years. My hope for the future is that one day my Catholic Church will stop threatening us, treating us like lepers at the edge of the village, to stop focusing on the negative and allow us fully into the fold, so that they realize that the reputation they have given us is not true, and to recognize the gifts we bring, the gifts the Creator has bestowed on us. My vision is that our church will allow us to show our worth, how we can work together to create a more peaceful world for all of us. We are an incredibly creative and talented group of people. They don't know what they're missing. And finally, my prayer is that my community will continue to be patient. Don't give up. Don't get tired. Hold the line. Don't give up the struggle. Like Bishop Oscar Romero said, we are all workers, not master builders. Ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future, not our own. When I'm gone, my prayer is that someone will pick up my stride, keep up the pace, and please, please, all of you, lend support to one another. Working together, we can achieve the dream of a more peaceful world for all of us. And to my LGBT community, feel your worth. As the quote on St. Paul's Church in Baltimore says, you are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. Thank you.
It's okay, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Is it your turn?
No.
Thank you, Nikki and Deb, for your words of wisdom and love. I'd like to introduce Rod and Patti Radle. They are not only Peace Laureates, but they are troubadours in San Antonio. They're going to lead us in this first verse of De Colores. Okay, come on up.
Good afternoon, and notice she said lead. Okay, todos nos vamos a cantar todos, okay?
Oh.
De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajarillos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí.
Our second Peace Laureate for 2009 is Rebecca Flores. Rebecca's not from San Antonio. Ooh. She grew up on a farm in Atascosa County, working the farm and going to school. She wasn't a migrant worker, but I understand that the family did have a summer in Wisconsin, picking beets and cherries and other things. But when she was in high school, that age, the family moved into San Antonio, so she did see the light. And she is also a graduate of Fox Tech High School. So there must be something in the water at Fox Tech. Now, like most young women who went to Fox Tech, which was known as the Mexican High School, she became a secretary at Fort Sam Houston and worked there for 5 years. And when she had enough money stashed away in her retirement account, she decided that it was really a college fund, cashed it out, and went to St. Mary's University. Any St. Mary's grads here? Yeah. After St. Mary's, she went to Michigan. Where she got a master's in social work and married a lawyer. When Rebecca lived in Texas, she lived the life of a farm worker, and she watched the United Farm Workers Union and the labor struggle on television. But when she got to Michigan, those two things came together, and she was energized and swore that when she and her then husband graduated, they were going to go and work for the United Farm Workers Union, and by gum, that's what they did. She graduated, went down to the valley, worked as a volunteer for a while, and then got hired as the organizer for the entire state of Texas. Think about that. A young woman with a baby on her hip, going house to house to house, saying, if we work together, we can beat this. Cantaloupe pickers were getting 60 cents an hour then. That's the time I was in college, and in my college summer job, I got $2.10 an hour. But for a 12-hour, 14-hour day in the field, 60 cents, with no toilets, no water, no sanitation, no rights, no privileges, and the Texas Rangers breathing down your neck the whole time. And to be there as a young mother with your kids, organizing, I can't grasp the courage that something like that would have taken. She's retired from that job now, but that doesn't mean that she stopped, because I don't think Rebecca will ever stop. She's a little energizer bunny, because she and Maria Berriozabal, who I believe is here today, founded a group called the Pro-Immigrant Coalition, and she's also working with the Interfaith Welcome Coalition on their bus station ministry, and is still a voice for inclusion, for justice, for fair wages for the working people here in San Antonio. So Rebecca, if you can come up with your mentee, and we'd like to hear from you directly.
Good afternoon. My name is Guillermina Lopez, but you can call me Mina. It's a lot easier to pronounce. Like many people, I'm not wild about public speaking, but when Rebecca asked me to speak about how she's influenced me, I couldn't say no. So here goes. A few years ago, I met Rebecca at a National Organization for Women San Antonio chapter meeting. She was invited to speak about immigrant women and children being held at the Carnes Detention Center. I was aware of the issue but didn't know much about it. I didn't know much about Rebecca either, so I did a little bit of research and found out about her work with Cesar Chavez, the United Farm Workers, and her becoming director of the UFW in South Texas, all while raising 3 children. Rebecca consistently spoke about the immigrant issue in follow-up meetings, giving us updates, explaining that this was a woman's issue that we should become actively involved in. Through Rebecca and the Social Action Committee at Temple Bethel, I found out about Sister Denise LaRocque, the Interfaith Welcome Coalition, and the airport and bus station advocacy and outreach work they were doing. Volunteers were helping families seeking asylum travel to sponsors and loved ones throughout the U.S. As a recent convert to Judaism, the Jewish concept of tikkun olam, defined as acts of kindness performed to repair the world, resonated with me, as well as the Jewish commandment to love and help the stranger. In fact, the commandment to care for the stranger is mentioned more times than any other commandment in the Torah. For example, you shall not wrong nor oppress the stranger, for you are strangers in the land of Egypt. I became involved in IWC's outreach effort as an immigrant from Mexico, a woman, a Jew, and as someone who wants to make a difference. As a member of the Social Action Committee at Temple Bethel, I'm happy that the Temple has advocated and supported the work being done by the Interfaith Welcome Coalition in recruiting Temple volunteers for the Bus Station Airport Outreach Program. Rebecca has influenced me by giving me the confidence to believe that I can contribute and be successful when I give back my time and talents to organizations and issues that give back to our community to make it a better place for all. I had Rebecca in mind when I was asked to interview for a board position with Planned Parenthood South Texas, and I thought how she would have seized the opportunity knowing that she would be advocating for women's health and their right to make decisions about their productive lives. I am now a new member of the Planned Parenthood Board. Muchísimas gracias, Rebecca, for your encouragement, your inspiration, y tu amistad.
Thank you, Michelle. Michelle, my greatest advocate. At least one. It's my honor, really, to share the stage with two courageous women, Nickie and Patricia Castillo. I just love them and what you all have done with your lives so far, and you still have a long way to go. Thank you also to the Peace Center for the recognition today, and to Guillermina, of course, for your nice words. And I also want to thank my family, who I think is the majority of the people who are here today, and my friends, who are all, there's my sisters, they're all my sisters back here, and my sisters over here. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. It's always nice to have family with you when you receive these recognitions. My work with United Farmworkers in South Texas reintroduced me as an adult to the life of migrant farm workers. As you know, I was a farm worker when we were young. It's a population of hardworking people, most of whom are of Mexican descent, men, women, and children, who could not then and probably cannot now get out of an endless cycle of poverty in an area that profits immensely from their labor. They had a small chance at getting an education because of their being tied to the work, and with that, to poverty. They lived in substandard housing in colonias and were isolated from civic participation. Very few of them voted. After a few years of intensive house meetings in the four-county Rio Grande Valley area and also in the border towns across the river in Mexico, we had organized thousands of farm workers who came together in one union and with one voice to change these very sad statistics that persisted for decades. Over the years, after we were organized into a strong and large union in the valley, workers began to march for higher wages. They had strikes in the fields, in the onions. They lobbied the legislature for protective labor laws. We passed minimum wage laws. We passed workers' comp laws. And all these laws in the 80s, we finally passed under Mark White, had never been passed in the state of Texas. This was in the 80s. Unheard of. We had no field sanitation, no water, no drinking water, no toilets in the fields, no nothing. No workers' compensation. If workers got injured, it was bad luck for you. No unemployment compensation. Workers who were unemployed 6 months out of the year because of the change in the season, there was no unemployment compensation for these workers. But after the union got organized, we were able to pass this legislation and bring these workers into this century. But you know that the other side is always working against us. They work 24/7. Every day, every year, and of course we don't have that money to do that, and we don't have, we just give out after a while. The workers then also, I remember, because here's Hilda, we prayed in front of the grapes in the H-E-B grocery stores. We prayed rosaries, and HEB, of course, never could throw us out because we were all these old ladies praying rosaries in front of the graves, and they didn't have the nerve to throw us all out. The workers hounded the county commissioners in Hidalgo County and in the counties in the valley to pave the streets in their colonias, to bring potable drinking water into their houses, to bring sewage lines into their colonias, to have mail delivered, things that we so do not even know, but we should appreciate, for the school buses to be able to enter the colonias to pick up the children, and on and on and on. And because they formed the union, their voices were heard, they flexed their muscle, and they were successful. The activist union of farm workers continues after all these years, now 53 years. Just think of it. Can you imagine a nonprofit or a union, of farm workers, of the very poorest people in this country, lasting for 53 years already, and they continue to this day. Sí se puede. And now, of course, it's a little different. It's called La Unión del Pueblo Intero. In the valley, they call it La Lupe, which I think is great. And they continue, but they focus on immigrants now because that is, of course, the issue of the day. I retired from the union after 30 years. I worked from 1975 to 2005. I worked every day. If anybody knows union work, you work every day, Saturday and Sunday, just pretty much like you all do still, and many of you do too. I look around at the audience, and I know, Iracema, you work all the time, because you do, you work and you work and you work and you work, and the little successes that we get are victories, great victories for us, but boy, you sure work hard to get there. There's Nancy Vera with the teachers union in Corpus Christi. Go union, right. So after 30 years, I retired and I came home, right? Came home to San Antonio. And I laid low for a while because, I had to, rest and stuff. But when I learned that immigrant women and children were being jailed in Karnes City, it became my personal duty, my personal responsibility to become better informed and to let others know about what was going on just south of us in sleepy little towns, Karnes City. I know my nephew's father is from that area. Who would have guessed that these places, these little towns, were jailing these women and children from Central America? In places like Dili, where we used to go for a curandera, who used to take care of our ills there. In places like Pearsall, where we used to pick cotton. And these are the little towns that are being abused, really, by these corporate for-profit jails and foisting this hard life on the people who want to work and who choose to work in those jails. And that is wrong. I joined the Interfaith Welcome Coalition, and many of those women are here today. There's JT, and I think Pat Conley's here. I don't know, I see so many of the folks who are with the Interfaith Welcome Coalition here today. But I joined them, and a crew of 4 of us, we would go in a car, and every week we would visit Karnes and talk to the women and the children who had fled their communities from Central America. As you know, the U.S. historically has orchestrated coups in Central American countries. They've toppled governments. They've overturned agrarian reform. They've kicked off decades of political strife, pitting the landowners, the rich landowners, along with their allies, the military, against the impoverished indigenous communities who are desperate for land and for a better future. Migration of the poor out of their countries is a product of these U.S. campaigns. Much like farm workers migrate out of South Texas fleeing poverty to find work in the fields of El Norte, Central Americans flee their countries, but to save their lives and the lives of their children. It was the organized work of those women and children in the Karnes jails that forced the government to enforce the Flores settlement, which limits the time that children can be kept in jail. It was their work. They put their lives on the line. And in talking to those women, they suffered. They were put in solitary confinement, and solitary confinement on anybody does a real number on you. Their hunger strikes, along with the advocacy of the Interfaith Welcome Coalition and Raíces, let's not forget the work Raíces has done in this whole area, exposed exposed what was happening to those folks just south of us in blaring headlines. Some women and their children had been in the jails for 12 months. The trauma that they experienced will be seen in the future, I have no doubt. Change does not come from up high. It really doesn't. It comes from us, each and every one of us. And as we respond to these poor and marginalized populations, we learn that change is made more difficult because we are fighting against those who are profiting from their suffering. In fiscal year 2018, for-profit prisons charged taxpayers, you and I, $807 million, this is in 1 year, $807 million to lock up the growing population of jailed immigrants. These privately held for-profit prisons, and their names are GEO, and Core Civic, spend millions of dollars lobbying our members of Congress, and let me just say one person's name, Cuellar from Laredo, to increase the number of beds and for policies to jail immigrants for longer and longer periods of time, because that means money, more money for them. Change begins, I believe, with one-on-one conversations, in-house meetings, with our families, with our institutions, with our churches. With the Catholic Church, Nikki, I think you're absolutely right. We've got to change the Catholic Church because that is my church too. And with our city leaders like the mayor here, I'm glad you're here. Until after enough of us are talking about this, we begin to see the possibility of change. The possibility of change. Not the change, but at least the possibility of doing it. I have been influenced by many people along the journey, by farm workers who are the most wonderful group of people. They have undaunted spirit, undaunted. Even in the worst of times, their spirit is flying high. Cesar Chavez, of course, Dolores Huerta, of course, who each had the firm belief that every person has the capacity to be a change agent. Dolores believes that every worker is an organizer, that every moment is an organizing opportunity. For example, this moment is an organizing opportunity. Every person is a potential activist. Yes, you, Philip, you are a potential activist. Every minute there is a chance to change the world. My vision is that each one of us wakes up every morning and asks himself or herself, what do I do today that will make a difference? That's the first question you should ask yourself. Seize every opportunity that you have to speak out, even when it is a one-liner. For example, as you say thank you, always add a call to action. Take advantage of every opportunity, I say. At every family gathering, every person you see can be one who can carry an important message for the well-being of those who live in the margins in our country. And there are so many people who live on the margins. The people who are poor, people who are farm workers, the LGBTQ people. You know, there's so many that are living on the edge that we have got to put our hand out to them and bring them in and work to make sure that they're included. And I end with this message spoken by Nobel Peace Laureate and Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Thank you so much.
Otra vez todos. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajarillos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Canta el gallo con el kiri, 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 kiri. La gallina con el carra, 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 carra. Los polluelos con el pío, 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 pío. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí.
Our third Peace Laureate for 2019, and third only because she's the youngest, is Patricia Castillo. Let's hear it for Patricia. I think there's more than one Castillo in the house today. She threatened to bring her family, and the AT&T Center is unfortunately being used by the rodeo. Patricia is from San Antonio as well, but she's unique among the Peace Laureates in that she didn't go to Fox Tech. She went to John Jay. And after that, she went to Our Lady of the Lake University for a long time because she got a master's in social work and is a master social worker. I didn't say, but Rebecca's degree from Michigan is in social work too, so we have at least two social workers in the house. We're finding all of these intersections among you. In 1990, Patricia, along with Jane Schaefer, founded two organizations in San Antonio. One of them is the Peace Initiative, putting an end to abuse through community efforts. And the other one are the FACT teams, which are the Family Assistant Crisis teams. Since 1990, however long that is, my math skills are not up to cross-century math. She has been a voice not just in San Antonio, but throughout the world. Patricia has traveled throughout the Americas, not only here in the United States and Mexico, but throughout Central America, in Guatemala, in Honduras, in Nicaragua, in Brazil. And you'll have to explain this to me somehow, how you made it to China and Russia. But she is an international voice about abuse, and her way of approaching things isn't to tell people what to do, but it's to empower them to recognize the strength that they have within themselves so that they can heal themselves. And she told a newspaper at one time, if you are surviving an abuser, you are one badass woman. And I think that explains her methodology. She brings out the badass woman in all of the women of the world. I know she's done that for me. She sits on national boards. I've seen you on national TV. You do it in 2 languages. And you're involved in a coalition, which means you're reaching in to every segment of society, not just with men, but with women, but not just with women, but with men as well. Patricia, we shared a building for 10 years, and I know for a fact she is a badass woman herself. And so I'm going to let her up here to tell it yourself. And Gracie Moreno, I think you're here. Oh, you found her. So Gracie, you and Patricia come up, and let's hear from you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gracie, and I'm a domestic violence survivor.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I first met Patricia in 1984 at the Battered Women's Shelter, where she was my counselor, my social worker, and oftentimes my babysitter. She would watch my 5-day-old son, Tony, so that I could attend my in-house support meetings. She would sit at her desk working, and she would take off her shoes, and Tony would soundly be asleep while Patricia would rock him with her foot as she continued to work. I always told Tony that's why he loved her, because he spent his childhood whipping her feet as she rocked him to sleep while I took care of my business, being a survivor. Patricia helped find me housing on several occasions because my ex would always stalk me, beat me, break into my apartments, and I'd end up getting evicted. In '87, my ex killed my 5-year-old daughter. And I was Yvette. And I was convicted of murder by omission and sentenced to 99 years in prison. Thank you. While in county jail, I saw Patricia again. She was a match program coordinator inside the jail. She comes to my help again, getting me into the program so that I could have contact visits with my children. She was always there to listen to my cries. She encouraged me to not give up, to stay strong. I spent 15 years in prison, and Patricia never gave up on me. She was always there writing me letters and visiting. She would keep me up to date about my children. Throughout these 15 years, Patricia also helped my family with the help of many others. They received support, sponsors of all kinds of things like counseling and reassurance, especially for my children. Through letters, Patricia became my mentor. She always believed in me, letting me know the fight wasn't over. Patricia Moreno and many others worked hard for my release, even after the several parole denials. On Thursday, I will be out 17 years, and in all these years, Patricia remains my mentor, supporting me to get up and keep going forward when I'm at my lowest. Some days she's my social worker, other days she's my mentor, but all in all, she's my true friend.
Gracie is one of my greatest teachers. I learn so much from her every time I'm with her. She's constantly teaching me, educating me, holding me accountable, and pushing me to do better, to shine, to keep at it. We're good for each other. We're good for each other. I would like to thank the Peace Center for this recognition. I would like to thank the Sisters of Divine Providence, who gave me my formal education. I don't know how they could stand me at Our Lady of the Lake. Puro aguante. Me aguantaron the Sisters of Divine Providence. Thank you, sisters. If any of you are here, I don't know. Woo! And then the Benedictine sisters took me on as one of their projects in 1990. And here I am because of the Benedictines. Thank you, Benedictine sisters. I love you. You gave us a great start. When I heard about this nomination, I wasn't sure I was worthy of this tag. So I did a little research and found this is what a Peace Laureate is. Those who shall have done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations, for the abolition or reduction of standing armies, and for the holding and promotion of peace congresses. Often referred to as a private matter, family, relationship, and dating violence is definitely damaging to fraternity between people. Hence, damaging to fraternity between nations. If there's violence in our homes, it doesn't stay there. It spills over in waves of school, community, state, national, and warring violence. Think of the condition of our current global leaders. This work has global implications. In terms of reducing armies, and in light of the fact that we have some of the highest numbers of child abuse, domestic violence, and domestic violence murders, clearly our homes are the boot camps of domestic violence. 68% of women who are killed are murdered with handguns. So it's imperative that we work with groups of all kinds that address these issues. The warring begins at home, but it has global implications. Access to weapons, illegal arms sales, and trade is the third worst form of crime in our nation, but it has its roots in the boot camps of our homes. So working to make homes and families safe and nonviolent has global implications. Peace in our homes has implications for international peace. This also promotes humanitarian work, stability, justice by means of diplomacy and international agreements. Yesterday, I worked with about 30 citizens and the city's Metro Health Department to decide on the top 3 priorities for the city for the next 4 years. We decided on access to healthcare services. Yes. We decided on adverse childhood experiences which traumatize our communities. And nutrition was the third issue that we decided on. And a very close fourth was overall violence, which includes the street violence, the domestic violence, all of the violence that plagues our communities. That's how we begin to make these issues a priority. So I'm really excited and looking forward to being able to provide whatever input that Peace Initiative can, Mayor, to this work that we're going to do in our city for the next 4 years. It's very, very important, and I'm so glad for the kids. We really have to work on saving our children. They're in a lot of danger because of domestic violence. At the Peace Initiative, many of us have imagined living in a world without family violence by way of working together to create programs like the Peace Initiative, like the FACT program, Family Assistance Crisis Teams, where over 3,000 citizens have been trained to work alongside police officers helping respond to domestic violence since 1990. We've responded to the call of working with arrestees of domestic violence by creating Project Advance, which is a Bexar County funded program. We are in our 7th year of funding with them to help educate people who are arrested, inform them, guide them away from the criminal justice system that entraps people in recidivist cycles of crime, arrests, and violence. We have also created and promoted and delivered thousands of hours of workshops, trainings, presenting at conferences, informing the community about ending violence in their lives. And we've worked with hundreds of other organizations to get the word out about this issue that is so devastating to our families. My dream at this point is to get information to our youth. Our kids need to be learning about this because we have a very serious teen dating violence problem, not just in San Antonio, but all across this nation. And my other dream is that we stop hitting our children as a form of discipline. If we did this, we would change the brain functioning of the next generation and live in a very different world. We face barriers all the time in this work, little to no funding because no one wants to fund prevention work. Yet, that is where we have our most success because people tend to use information once you give it to them. But again, it's hard to get funding for prevention work. And that's when people suffer the consequences of a lack of information. I'm hopeful by the fact that now more than ever, friends, neighbors, relatives, even strangers and co-workers get involved on behalf of someone who's living with violence in their lives. In spite of being afraid, they're motivated by doing what's right. That is facing family violence, taking it on, not looking the other way, and definitely not victim blaming. We call this bystander intervention, and more people than ever are doing it because it's important to get people to the right kind of help. I believe this is due to the 40+ years of many of us planting seeds of concern, of knowledge, of courage, and ánimo, puras ganas, through educating and teaching this community about how this can devastate generations of familias. And familia is the fabric of our society. If it's fragile, fragmented, and failing, then so are all of us. We have to understand that. It is so important. Our gente is clearly beginning to understand this, know this, and address this. We so need this form of palanca for our communities, of support, of backup for what we do. And here I will invoke the name of my mamita who's in heaven. Esto me da mucha esperanza. Thank you, Creator God, for my familia, for my parents, for my community, for my raza, for my roots, and for this opportunity and this privilege and this honor to serve. Muchas gracias.
Thank you all so much for your words, for your wisdom, for your heartfelt passion in the work that you do. Shelby and I would like to invite up all the young children to come up here. Come on, Shelby. And heck, anyone under 20 qualifies. Please come up here. I've got a story to read you. We have this fabulous book by a local author, Carmen Tafoya. Carmen, you're here somewhere. Where are you? Stand up. Stand up, Carmen. She wrote this book a few years ago. Here, come sit down. Come and sit down. Okay. The name of the book is What Can You Do with a Rebozo? This is a rebozo. this is a rebozo, and this is a rebozo. What can you do with a rebozo? ¿Qué puedes hacer con un rebozo? I'm going to tell you. Okay, here's the pictures. What can you do with a rebozo? Mama spreads it like a butterfly to pretty up her dress for Sunday morning, or wraps it into a cozy cradle for baby brother, so her hands are free to weave a braid for me. Baby brother ducks under a rebozo to play hide and seek and do a peekaboo peek. Big sister twirls a rebozo round and round and ropes it through her long, shiny hair. Getting ideas? Lita uses hers to keep the cold away on winter nights. It's nice and warm in there. See, she's got her little granddaughter wrapped up in the rebozo. Yeah. Yesterday, Theo wiped up a spill with Mama's blue rebozo, and I helped too. Uh-oh. It was full of sticky red ketchup spots, but Daddy washed it clean as new. Uh-oh, Jack. Oh, this is something you'll all recognize. On my birthday, we swung a piñata up into the tree and wound the rebozo over our eyes, Carmen. When we burst that big ball of treats, out came yummy surprises. You can turn it into a secret tunnel if you have 2 chairs, or a sash for a pirate. Or even a flying cape, and the superhero is me, Ruby Jane. It's me. Ha. When my puppy didn't feel good, I made him a bandage, all nicely tied. And when my cousins turned my room into a playground, it became a long red slide. There's a monkey and a bear going down that slide. This one's my favorite. Oh my gosh. But what I like to do most with a rebozo is dance. La bamba is my favorite dance. I dance and I dance and dance with my rebozo. I swirl and I leap. Until I'm so tired that I fall asleep on Mama's bed, where she covers me, oh so quietly, with her red rebozo. And look who's sleeping next to her on the pillow. It's her puppy, the puppy, yay! The end. Woo-hoo! Thank you for listening. Thank you so much. So we thought, here Shelby, you can help me, that we need to call forth all 6 of the Peace Laureates. Put your phone away, Patricia. What are you looking at? She's answering a message from a battered woman. Okay, the work goes on. So all 6 of you, the 3 poet laureates and the 3 mentee Peace Laureates, thank you. Peace Laureates. Deb, you have to come back. I'm sorry. Have to come up for just a moment. In just a moment. Please come up. So Shelby is going to give one of the copies of the autographed book, one to Deb. Raise your hand. Deb gets a rebozo. What can you do with a rebozo book? And Guillermina gets one, and Gracie gets one, a copy of those books, what you can do with a rebozo. And for the Peace Laureates, yeah, you want to put it on her? For the Peace Laureates, we have rebozo for Nickie Valdez. It says Nickie Valdez, 2019 San Antonio Peace Laureate. And for Rebecca, we have Rebecca Flores, 2019 Peace Laureate, San Antonio, Texas. And for Patricia Castillo, we have 2019 Peace Laureate. Let's see, where is that beautiful, on this side here? There you are, look at that. Wow. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Nickie. Oh, thank you. So now we're going to have our ritual, because it is about these women, but it's not just about these women. It's about all of us being peacemakers and peace laureates in this world. So Anne is going to lead the ritual.
So this is actually how the blessing began. It's gathering people together who make peace every year, whether you're turning 2 or 102 or 7 and getting closer to 70, whatever the case may be, for all of the work that everybody in this room has done in this past year, and to bless you forward into the next year as well. And we always have a ritual. We do something different every year. But going with our theme, I'm going to be asking both our laureate and their protege to help pass out lights. And we're going to be passing them back. So you will turn around and keep passing it back until it can't go any further, right? So you're going to have to keep track of that, but everybody will get a candle. And when you finally get yours, we're living in 2019, right? Turn it on. Okay. Light it as a symbol of bringing your own light into the world and giving birth to peace in the world as well. And while we're passing those back, we're just going to kind of keep repeating to each other and ourselves, bringing light, giving birth, bringing light, giving birth, because that's what we are all doing. Patti and Rod are going to share some beautiful guitar music, and when you get your light, again, light it, and then we're going to sing Las Mañanitas together. Okay. So if you all help, start passing them back in front. Now just keep passing them. Start passing them backward. This side. So if you would just keep passing them back, these folks aren't going to hand you each one. You're going to help. That's how peace works. Bringing light, giving birth. Keep passing them back. Pass on the light of peace. Pass them back. And with me, bringing light, giving birth. Bringing light, giving birth. Keep passing them back to the person behind you.
We might have to share. Bringing light, giving birth. Bringing light, giving birth. Does anybody on this side need one? Yes. You might have to share. Hold one with the person next to you. You want to hold your candle, and if you don't know the words, they'll be on the screen as we continue to bring light and give birth to peace in this world.
Estas son las mañanitas que canta el rey David, ha puesto el día santo, las cantamos a ti. Despierta, mi bien, despierta, mira que ya amaneció, ya los pajarillos cantan, la luna ya se metió. Qué linda está la mañana en que vengo a saludarte. Venimos todos con gusto y placer a felicitarte. El día en que tú naciste, nacieron todas las flores. Y en la pila del bautismo cantaron los ruiseñores. Ya viene amaneciendo, ya la luz del día nos dio. Levántate de mañana, mira que amaneció. Quisiera ser un San Juan, saludar. Para decir adiós. Vengo a saludar hoy por ser tu santo, te venimos a cantar.
Okay, please be seated. I have a question. There's a fellow here by the first name of Ron. Would you say a few words? Woo-hoo.
Good evening. On behalf of, hello. Well, first of all, I just want to say congratulations and thank you to the lifetime of work that these ladies have done to make ourselves worthy of calling ourselves a compassionate city. Thank you. Yesterday ended what is a 8-10-day affair that we call Dream Week here in San Antonio, which is centered on the largest Martin Luther King Jr. march in the entire country. I would venture to say that we also have the largest Cesar Chavez march in the country as well. And if my wife was not ill in bed tonight, she would be joining me with you, Rebecca particularly, to tell us and to remind us that our work is not through. That's the message I hear loud and clear when I see these ladies honored, is that there is a reason why these marches continue. There's a reason why elected officials are held accountable to the people that they serve, is that our work for justice and equality and compassion is not through. In fact, some would say is slipping behind over the last few years. But I'm here to tell you that as a San Antonian, as a neighbor, as a citizen of this city, as a resident, and as your mayor, our work will continue the mission that you began. Thank you all very much. This is an event that I hope inspires you, and I hope brings attention to the very desperate needs in our city. Patricia, I hear you loud and clear, and that number 4 will be part of the mission moving forward, I guarantee you.
All right, we're coming to the end here. Please mark your calendars for next year's Blessing of the Peacemakers, January 26th of 2020. In your handouts that you received on your seats, there's a compassion integrity training beginning here at Oblate in the Rock House on Thursday afternoon from 1 to 3, beginning February the 7th. Compassion integrity training. Please come, please join us. The world needs more compassion. There's a positivity workshop that the Peace Center is sponsoring with a group of therapists in town. Barbara Fredrickson is coming down to speak to us on positivity on Monday, February the 28th, right here in the Whitley. And the Cosmic Mass with Father Matthew Fox is on Sunday, April the 28th, right here in the Whitley, about the taking care of our earth. So outside, we have Poets for Peace, has just published a new book. Quarterly, the Peace Center sponsors a Poets for Peace evening. You can find it on our website, sacompassion.net. And it's called The Larger Geometry. It's compiled by Dee Phelps, and she'll be selling them right outside there in the lobby. Please take a moment to consider how many copies you will be needing to give to friends. Speaking of poetry, I have a question for each of us from the late Mary Oliver. Listen up. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Thank you, peacemakers, all of you peacemakers. Thank you for coming to this year's blessing. We invite you to stay for reception out these doors con pan dulce, café, chocolate caliente, and you. Thank you very, very much.